everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Let me get my headset adjusted here. So today I'm playing SculptVR. Now this just came out today for the PSVR, and at the time of this video, it's like $17.99 or something. It's 10% off. So it was like $2 off of $19.99. So I wanted to kind of make this video because I was at work today. I knew this game was coming out, or let's say application. Let's not call this a game. All right, I've seen a couple people kind of upset about that. But it is creative space, so we're gonna say application, and it's really neat. I played around with it for a little bit with my daughter. I made this terrible unicorn because that's what she asked for. It looks really bad, so I'm not gonna show it. But I wanted to kind of go over your palettes here and some of the stuff that you've got. So there's a couple of things for starters that I wanted to kind of talk on. So your thumb button right here, your middle move button, that grabs your space. Now it starts you off in like a huge space. I'm sure you can see all the way around. So if you push both move buttons, you can scale that space down and get something kind of a little more manageable. Now this is neat because if you want to do something like a head or a bust, you can work on it here, and when you really need to get some fine detail, you can scale that sucker up and work on little areas that you need to. So obviously first you got all your paint colors. Now each paint color has 3 different kind of settings, right? You got like this regular, this chrome, and that looks like it's probably like a matte color, and we'll play around with a little bit of that. But each color has that, so you can see obviously my daughter, she wanted a pink and a purple unicorn. Oh, and some blue in there. And this sucker was chrome. The rocket I'm holding in my hand, it's kind of like a destruction tool or an erase tool. I mean, you could use it to erase, but you got to be careful because it let's for example, let me make a little shape here, okay? Kind of a oh, look, you can fill the whole box perfectly. That's kind of neat. I didn't know that. But this will work well for the example. Okay, so like we got a box, right? Oh, you could probably make like a little diorama. It kind of looks like a turd. Okay. But when you hit it with a rocket, well, okay, I should do a bigger. I should have done that. Should have done that a little bigger next time. All right, let's make our space. Why is the space so far out? Oh crap, I messed up, guys. Let's bring that space in closer and get inside of it actually this time. Okay, so we're gonna make something. Let's do a cylinder, and make it really big. Okay, we're gonna back away from it here a little bit. Okay, so now your rocket though, it just takes little chunks out, right? And you could add some detail to something if you really wanted to with this. I mean, get creative, go nuts. They have I'm really liking the physics of like each little individual piece dropping down into the abyss. So I'll scale this back, and the only thing I haven't found yet is any real effective way to. I don't know what this is. Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that. That's how you adjust your light. So you could like grab the sun and rotate the. You can go into some nighttime, depending on your theme. Whatever you got going here. That's friggin' cool. And then if you go the other side, you get the moon. Oh, that's really neat. That's pretty cool, man. So like now you're working in the moonlight. Nice touch. I definitely like it. Let's get some daylight back up in here. High noon. Okay. The only thing, the music was a really cool touch, by the way. Let's not forget that. The only thing I'm having a hard time with is the ability to. Okay. Now I'm an idiot. I figured it out. I'm like trying to figure out how to erase stuff. This button says sculpt here. I forget what button that is. That's probably triangle. That alters between carve and sculpt. So if you make a piece and then you want to cut little chunks out of it, you can do so. Now, notice my triangles are very large at this point, but if I really scale in, let's get this thing where it's a little closer, more manageable. My triangles get a lot smaller, so they're relative to your perspective, and you could get some fine detail in this thing if you wanted to, like, you know, cut letters or really anything. And I mean, you could do this with any shape. So go back to carve with the sphere and carve out some little areas. So I can see this working really well in, like, you know, making like a head shape of some sort. Gosh, the amount of triangles you can get away with in this are insane. So that's really cool. Let's get rid of that. Those are so cool. All right, next. So that is how you switch between carving and sculpting. Now, your first tab here, you got sphere. Okay, so if you just make, you know, a shape or something using the sphere, kind of, it's like, if you've ever done any ZBrush work, it's similar to clay buildup. All right, so the reason I'm kind of really interested in this is because I like to model stuff in 3D. I have a 3D printer and I make a lot of things to print, but they're all measurement driven, meaning I use a program like SolidWorks and I have to have like exact measurements on squares and adjust. And free sculpting like this is not my thing on PC, but this could potentially even be a game changer, you know, for that. I'm really hoping to be able to free sculpt a little bit better, you know, because I can see it in a 3D space, and it makes it so much easier to actually use. If I want to get rid of this a lot faster, I can do this. Okay, so next, you got your sphere. Again, let's make a little box of some sort, or just a little shape, and then we'll go through some of these other. Now you've got a smoothing brush. Now this you can smooth out, so if like you got this crazy divot and you didn't really mean to make it, you know, so nuts, you smooth that, and you can, and again, the closer you zoom, the more triangle count you're going to end up getting out of it. Now here, I've got like big triangles, but you know, we're going to go really small here, right? And let's say I went a little nuts. Now I don't know what I'm making. That kind of, let's make something a little less shapely. Okay, so smaller triangles, right? Now if I go to smooth, I can really even these pieces up, like make this fade into it a little bit more. So like kind of like a tree branch, you know, it fades out, and then I don't know what. Okay, so that's colors only, right? So if I was painting with a sphere, right, and I put in some pink, but now I want to smooth those colors. If I press my triangle button again, it smooths the colors only, and that is neat. That is a really cool way to get your effects in of, like, you know, really painting your model to look the way that you want it to look. That's just neat. Okay, so next, that is your smoothing brush. Obviously, like I said, you can do colors only or shapes and colors. I would like to see a shapes only option, although I can't fathom where that, you know what, never mind, forget I said that. So again, back to smoothing only. All right, that's awesome. Now the next thing is this, the bulge and deflate brush. So now again, your triangle switches between bulge and deflate, so you want to, you know, you need an area to come out right here, something you want to make like a nostril on a face you're making. You can bulge it out, deflate, get that nostril in there real deep, and you've kind of made a little bit of a nose, you know, section. Now again, my move button, no matter what brush I'm in, my move button, I can pick my model up. So now this size button, it tends to be a little deceiving. Now I understand why they didn't put it on both sides, but if I want to make the size of my brush smaller, I click X. Now circle will bring it back up and make it larger. So I can get, I haven't actually gotten to see, that's a very big brush. You can really make some difference here with your model if that's what you're trying to do. Alright, now let's figure out. Alright, and then smaller again is X, and you can hold it, and it'll shrink, and it gets very small. So you can really, you know, add in little details. And now my triangles are actually relative to the size of my my tool here. And you can see now this might be a little bit too high detail, but if you're just trying to add like texture to something, you know, that works out really well. So that is the Bulge and Deflate brush. Now you saw, now each one of these, I believe, except for the rounded cube. So cone has a paint tool and sphere has a paint tool. Now we'll get into the paint tool. Obviously you can see whatever color you want to add in there. It's kind of taking a toll on my performance because I'm kind of getting, I don't know, maybe I'm getting too complex with it. I don't honestly know yet. But now let's go back into, I want to smooth that. I want to smooth my colors out because that ending is very rough. You can see how defined the colors are. They're a little too jagged, and I don't like that, right? I'm modeling something. Let's see. I wonder if my brush size really impacts the amount of smoothing. Oh, I haven't seen this yet. It's thinking. So I've put a lot of strain on this thing. I'm just going to hit it, and then, oh yeah, look at that. You can smooth out the whole thing. Get it a little darker. I mean, realistically, I could have picked a better color if that's not what I was trying to do, but now we got, you know, kind of like a little snow-capped mountain going on. Guys, I'm not making anything in particular yet. Like I said, I'm not very good, so I'm just going through the tools to kind of give you an idea here. So rounded cube. Now, this first one is like a free sculpt, you know, just like you saw with, that is a really bright white. I should not have gone with that color. There we go. That helps a lot. That was causing some glare for me. So it just gives you a cube, and once again, yeah, you can go really, really small with it and get some fine, if you're doing hair or something on the back, even go smaller, you know, vary your size a lot. Now, we're trying to make some hair here, right? Just toying around with it. And if I go into my smooth, if I just hit that real quick, it'll kind of, it's thinking. I am on the PlayStation 4 Pro, so the performance is probably going to be better than some PlayStations will handle, but it still tends to, you know, when you start getting real crazy with it, it looks like it's going to have a little bit of trouble. But, you know, that's pretty neat. So right there, you got a little bit of hair. How did you get there, little guy? So, like I said, each brush has its own different thing. Okay, so I lost my train of thought there. Let's move on to the next. So you got the rounded cube. That's how you just free sculpt, like with a square. And then we got this stretchable box. Okay, so wherever you start, let's say you wanted just a, you know, you drag, and you got a little piece here, right? Now it gives it some sort of, I do wish there was a carve sculpt. I really wish there was a way to make that more perfect. So if you were like trying to do like a skyline or something, I wanted that to be probably, yeah, I'm outside my box here. But I want it to be like a perfect, you know, cube of some sort, but it doesn't look like it really gives me that option. So maybe in the future that's something they'll add. Like I said, this is day one, so who knows? You know, we got a lot ahead of us. Okay, so this is like a little scatter brush. You can add, you know, some meteors in space or whatever you're trying to do here, and we can get up inside of the little meteor field. All right, next, the puck, just like the cube. You know, it's a free sculpt puck, and like whichever direction, if you want it to be thin, you can do this, cut down, or you can go like width-wise through it. And man, it's just, there's so much available even already, you know. Let's actually let's clean this workspace up, because I need, there we go, get rid of some of that extra color. I would save your painting for last, because it seems to be the most taxing as far as performance. Where's my box? There we go. Okay, so now we're back inside the box. Okay, puck, cylinder, again, same thing before. You can't, you can't adjust. Oh, you can. Disregard. If you realize you need your cylinder to be a lot bigger, then you can just press your size buttons while you're in the middle of doing it. And if you need to adjust it, that's awesome. I wonder if you can switch between carve and whatnot if you really need to. So now we got a cylinder. Okay, so even with no other models in to affect the shape, it didn't give me a perfect cylinder. And again, I'd like to see a feature for that, but this is day one. Now we've got a tube. It's the same concept. Okay, we've made a little tube and we can look down it. That's neat. And then torus, which is really, it's just a ring, but if you wanted to make some donuts or whatever, you were trying to do, or get some really cool cutouts, that's really neat. Like there's really nothing you can't do so far with this. Oh, okay, that's not true. There's some stuff you can't do, but oh no, I screwed up. Okay, we're gonna clean up the workspace again here, and now we are back to clean. Okay, we've gone through there. Cone, this is just, there isn't like a draggable cone like there is with pretty much every other, except for the sphere, I guess. The sphere and the cone are kind of the same way, so you just drag along, right? But you can make your cone a lot bigger, place a couple of mountain ranges or something with it, and then be good to go. So now we've got like a little mountain scene going on. I'm not sure what's going on over here. We could even use the cone to clean that up. And alright, if I wanted to paint with my cone tool, which I think is really neat because you get this, this point, and you could just kind of, I'm not certain why it looks like it's altering the actual shape. I don't think it should be doing that, but whatever. Okay, so we've added some snow a little bit in, and let's go ahead and smooth some of those colors in. So, not such harsh edges. Kind of fades in, and we get ourselves a little mountain range. All right, and again, back to the old rocket. You can use it as an erase tool, but you got to be careful, because if you're not trying to get rid of massive parts, then you don't want to. So, sky grabber again. You can grab the sun, and it seems like the closer you get to, I guess just when you're holding it. Yeah, it's just when you're holding the sun. I thought the closer you would get to night, it gave you this cool ambient music. I'd like to hear more ambient music in the background, but let's put the sun just over here. Okay. So those are a lot of the options. I changed my mind. Back to here. The next I want to talk about is these different panels up top. So this is all on the color palette here. You got layers, so that's great. You can make something, and then if you don't want to mess with it, whatever you do, you can add a new layer. And I wish I could lock this one. I want to be able to lock the main layer, but maybe start with, does that lock? Yes. Okay, so the lock stops. Why? This is interesting. I'm trying to kind of figure out what's going on here. Like, I have a 1.1, but I want to be able to add like a new 1.0. Alright, some symmetry. Oh man. If I want to get symmetry in it, I probably need my box to be a little smaller. There we go. So you can adjust your symmetry box wherever you need it to be. And whatever you draw on one side will obviously show up on the other. So this tends to be a little uh-oh. I would lock your symmetry in place. So now it stays with your model. Let's clean up. Only half the erasing to do. Okay. So you can make it, you know, wherever you put the symmetry, you can keep it. I would suggest if you're going to draw a face or something, start with your symmetry on. You know, do whatever you need to do, and then remove it, because it's going to be hard to get it perfectly back in the middle, I think. What is all this? I'm trying to figure out. Oh, that's just me undoing all the symmetry changes I've made. Which, I think I'm back to zero. And it kind of looks like it's perfectly in the middle. I can't tell. It's very difficult to tell. I don't think so. But it's really close. Okay, so your layers. Here we've got, oh my. Oh, how smooth your layers are. Okay, so let's sculpt something. I don't know what I'm sculpting. Why can I not? Why can't I draw now all of a sudden? It looks like you can make stuff really blocky. I've clearly still got something lingering from a previous build, but yeah, you can adjust and make it more or less blocky. I don't know why I'm doing white, guys. This is why it's a piss poor color. Seriously, what's going on? Why can't I? Did I lock the layer? I don't know what's going on here. It's freaking out. Oh, I'm outside the box. Guys, come on. I'm an idiot. Okay, so better color to work with. Obviously, I've still got symmetry on. That's another complaint, but I'd like the box to stay a little more visible, so I kind of knew what was going on, but let's get rid of all this. Okay, so the box, let's get back inside of this sucker. Right here. Alright. And we can move around within it and make, you know, little changes, I guess. Now, obviously make the layer visible or not. That's, you know, completely up to you. So, that is ultra smooth, man. Look at that. I bet that really causes some hell on your rendering, though. Now, you can go, obviously, I would probably model in something like this, okay? And then, you know, switch to this when you need to, like, show it off or whatever you're going to do. But man, that looks good. That is so freaking cool how it handles the... I'm learning stuff as I go, guys. I'm definitely not doing... What is all that crap? Is there something I've forgotten? Can I erase all of this? That does help highlight, you know, stuff that I clearly didn't erase earlier. I thought I had, but... so that's freaking awesome. Yeah, again, I would probably model here, and then... you know, when you're ready to like check it out, put it in really super smooth. So turn symmetry off now for a bit. That is layers in a nutshell. So adding more layers. Why this is 1.1, I don't know. I want this to be its own layer. Maybe that's not an option. I really honestly don't know, guys. So we'll figure that out, I guess, maybe later, but... And it turns out when you delete one sublayer, it also deletes the sub... So, like, if I have something sculpted here, okay, and then I'm working on this layer, right? So I could lock this where it doesn't move, and I can sculpt. Why didn't... Oh, it's because I'm in that layer. So now I'm in this layer, right? Okay, this lock is not happening for me. Oh, it's locked to the scene. Neat. Let's go into this layer and unlock it from the scene. So you can rotate different objects around. Now I'm figuring more out. Okay, that looks like a butt a little bit. But this is starting to look pretty neat. Okay. Now I want to lock that back to the scene. And what's locked to the layer above, I guess. So that makes sense. Now, can I add? No, I don't. There's no way to add like another base layer, but I guess you got to build everything off of the layer above it. That's what this is. So we're not gonna. See, I thought that locked your layer from carving in it, but I guess it really just matters what layer you're in. And I guess if you go to the base layer, you can probably... No, you can't. You cannot alter all the layers below. All right. We're figuring things out. Learn as we go. So, that's layers. Let's get another nothing sculpt. We're going to add a new layer. And another little nothing sculpt here. Notice I can no longer erase stuff from this layer, but I can erase stuff here. Yeah. Ah, crap. Tornado sirens. Okay. Nothing. I'm streaming. Sorry. All right. I'm gonna come back. See you guys later. Yeah. Yeah, I would.